everyone. Good morning. It's time for Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. Your daily dose of wrapping up all the individual stock action for you in the markets today. I'm Ubina Kabasi. Nifty, meantime, just about, you could say hovering in that 11,800 range, 0.13% higher, very minor gains as we speak. And the small cap and the mid cap index, on the other hand, are still doing comparatively a bit better. Finally, some bit of outperformance seen over there. Mid and small cap index both are higher by around 0.6% as we speak. So good going over there. But let's introduce then Kunal Bothra, ET Now's technical expert. We also have Soumya Sharma, ET Now's research analyst. And in a short while from now, Gaurav Ratnaparkhi of Sharekhan too will be joining in. So good morning to all of you. And Soumya, let's kickstart the show with you. We've got a lot of upgrades and buy calls from the brokerage community today, one of them being Axis Bank. What does Macquarie have to say about the bank?
Yes, in fact, indeed, they have upgraded Axis Bank from neutral to outperform with a target price of 925 rupees per share. Well, they believe that it is one of their top picks, and they've raised the target price by over 25% to nearly 925 rupees per share. They believe that Axis is bringing in more operating rigor and rhythm, and the focus on working capital and transaction and flow business is what's keeping them positive. The stock today is gaining close to about 1.1%.
Okay, there you have it. That's Axis Bank, more than 1% of gains. Take a look at NTPC, which as well is seeing some action today in trade. Well, it's just higher by around 1.5%. The company has bagged a 40 megawatt solar capacity in the UPNEDA's 500 megawatt tender. The solar capacity has been won in that tender at a tariff of 3.02 rupees per kilowatt hour. However, do remember that, NTPC has been seeing some green on the screen for some time now. It's at 140 rupees. So good traction, and that continues in today's trading session as well, perhaps being boosted by this order win. Kunal, Engineers India, what is it that's making you go long on this stock?
So it's a very strong breakout, Mubina, on the daily and especially on the weekly charts. If someone looks at it on the weekly line chart, I think Engineers India at 120 plus levels, I think has staged a strong breakout on those time frames. And the good part about this is that this is backed by strong volumes for Engineers India. So I believe that with this price volume breakout, a sideways consolidation of almost 6 months, 7 months getting over for the stock, I believe could spell very positive outlook for the stock in the near term. So I would suggest a strong buy on Engineers India at current levels. 132 could be an immediate target, with a stop loss kept at 116.
All right, that is, of course, a view on EIL. By the way, it's just about near the day's high. Gaurav Ratnaparkhi as well joins in on the show. Hi, Gaurav, morning. Tata Power today is seeing a good amount of traction, more than 4% of gains. I think it's after very long that we're seeing this sort of an intraday move. What would you recommend viewers do?
Yeah, indeed. Tata Power has formed an inverted head and shoulders pattern on the hourly chart and has broken out on the upside in the last session. Also on the weekly chart, it formed a hammer, which is a bullish candlestick pattern for the last week. And as a follow through, the stock is moving higher. Even the daily and weekly momentum indicators have triggered bullish crossover. So all these observations suggest that the stock seems to have formed a short to medium term bottom at the recent low of 63, and it's likely to go higher even from current levels. On the higher side, from short term perspective, a weekly upper Bollinger Band, which is around 75, will be the target to watch out for. Whereas from medium term perspective, the stock can test its October high of 86.
Okay, that is Tata Power for you. Okay, moving on. Soumya, now coming to you. Godrej Properties, today the stock is down in trade, but what's the news?
Well, the company's QIP opened yesterday, and they've set the floor price at ₹928 per share. Well, the company is seeking to offer shares in the range of 912 to 928 rupees per share. That's what we gathered from the agencies. And apart from this, they are looking to raise close to about $300 million via this QIP, which may see equity dilution of over 10%. As a result, we've seen the stock under pressure down today in trade.
Okay, Aurobindo Pharma, and take a look at that stock. Yes, the entire pharma space in general is seeing quite a lot of activity, but particularly for Aurobindo Pharma, the company has received the US FDA nod for an oral sulfamethoxazole and trimethoprim. These are two drugs that are used to prevent and treat a type of pneumonia, and Aurobindo is the only the fourth player in the pharmaceutical industry to get this approval. So it's important news. The stock price as well is seeing quite a lot of activity. It's 4% of gains seen over there. And of course, you just had that news flash as well appearing on your screens earlier. Aurobindo Pharma gaining very smartly. Kunal, Nestle India, after some time, we're seeing this stock appear on Market Fatafat. What's your recommendation here?
So the stock is at a multi-month high, Mubina, and I think after weeks of consolidation, questions about the FMCG sector overall going into a bit of a correction. I think whether these stocks could make a good comeback. I think this is a very strong and encouraging breakout for Nestle India. Rising about that 11,500 mark, which is acting as a minor bit of a hurdle for the stock price. I believe that the stocks now breaks out of or restarts a new trend for itself. So Nestle India could be something which even a short to medium term trader should be looking at, and especially even if you're a positional player or an investment horizon kind of a player in the markets. I believe the stock should provide some decent upside from current levels. 12,800 to 900 could be an immediate target for the stock price, and stop loss from a trading perspective at 11,500.
Okay, that's Nestle at a multi-month high, and it's interesting to know that while stocks like Britannia and other FMCG companies are losing, this one still comparatively is being able to buck the trend. Gaurav, just like Axis Bank, a private sector bank, we're seeing an uptick come by, and even an ICICI Bank, it's at 435 rupees. What would you recommend viewers?
Yeah, ICICI Bank is still in an upgrade from short-term as well as medium-term perspective. On the occasions of minor degree dips, it has been taking support near its crucial daily moving averages, and the same was witnessed in the last session as well. In the last session, the stock found support near its 20 daily simple moving average, and over there it formed a bullish outside bar. However, the upside potential in this counter looks quite limited. The short-term momentum indicators are showing negative divergence. Even the stock is facing resistance from its Delhi upper Bollinger Band. So the stock can stretch till 448, 450 in the short term. However, after that it's likely to get into a correction mode.
Okay, that is ICICI Bank. It's 0.5% higher in trade. Moving on, Soumya, SBI Life, what is the update on the UFS?
Well, yes, the offer for sale for non-retail investors gets a 3.8 times demand on day one. For retail investors, it opens today. Let's see how the QIP fares today also, but the stock's certainly gaining today in trade.
Yes, it's in fact 5% higher right from the word go. Take a look at PI Industries. This stock in fact was recently at a lifetime high, if I'm not mistaken, definitely at a multi-month, multi-year high. And today, Credit Suisse has maintained an outperform on this stock with a target at 1325 rupees. They believe investment in R&D should continue, and the company should be able to maintain a more than 20% EPS CAGR over the forthcoming years. And PI Industries will continue to stay positive on a free cash flow basis. So that as well is something that they believe will be a big trigger. The stock price, it was in fact in the earlier part of the trading session gaining, but now it's given off all of those gains completely. And in fact, I think it's at the low point of the day. So it's almost a reversal seen in the trend. And Kunal, NBCC continues to stay on your radar?
Absolutely, Mubina, and I think after today's price volume breakout, or and also in continuation with what happened a couple of days back, the stock rising from 58 levels to 62 levels, it's crossing the long-term averages, the 50, the 200-day moving average, which in technical terms is a very strong indicator of a breakout. I think now the stock has also given some indicator-based breakout, and that's on the daily as well as on the weekly chart. So all in all, the price movement as well as the indicator movements are coming extremely positive for the stock price, and it's coming at a time when most of the mid-cap names are on verge of breaking out of the consolidation. So I believe NBCC could be a good bet at current level. 68 should be an approximate target for the stock price, and stop loss at 60.
All right, there you have it. That is the word then on NBCC. Okay, we'll just take a quick detour and talk about an exclusive news, the National Retail Policy. Now, sources have told my colleague Parisha Tyagi about certain contours of the policy, including standardization of retail permits and licenses and reduction in the number of required licenses and permits. I suppose in a push for sort of ease of doing business for the retail sector as well, and especially with all of the online players coming in and really dominating the retail platform in India. I suppose this was something that the retail industry as well asked for. Parisha Tyagi joins in now with more on that. Parisha?
Yes. So this comes after Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has been focusing on spotting several sectors in the country, and retail is, of course, one of the most important sectors that needs to be streamlined, that needs a lot of reforms. And a meeting regarding the same was held in Commerce Ministry yesterday, and now we pick up from sources that among the key recommendations made to the ministry was the need to have standardization of retail permits and licenses. One of the crucial demands made from retailers was that the required licenses and permits for the retail sector should be brought down from the current number of 5 to 25. So the retailers have been demanding for a sharp reduction in the requirement to have licenses and compliances. Other than that, they have also been asking for digitization of the system, for application of licenses should be made online, even the issuance should be made online. This is one of the key demands. Among other demands made in the meeting yesterday was to allow retailers to remain open 24/7 if they comply with certain requirements. Also building safeguards against counterfeiting and fake products, which is one of the key issues in the market as of now. So this is what we have been picking up from sources. We also learned that the Commerce Ministry has asked their stakeholders to come with feedback, and the draft is likely to be rolled out within 10 days. So yes, all eyes are now set on the draft national retail policy, and it is also an important step towards streamlining the sector, as we should also remember that retailers also played a big role in bringing Modi government back to the power.
Well, not wasting any time, of course, Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister, has got to work. And that is, of course, some of those contours of the national retail policy exclusively on ET Now. Thanks a lot, Parisha, for that quick break right here on the show. We'll come right back. We'll continue with the countdown of the big movers and shakers.
In association.
Everyone, welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. Let's continue with the countdown. And Gaurav, we've been seeing some traction come by in a container corporation or Concor as well of late. Your view here?
Yeah, Concor formed a bullish triangular pattern on the daily chart and broke out on the upside in the last week. And on the way up, the stock has crossed a crucial falling trend line. And today, the stock has surpassed the January high of 564. So all these observations suggest that the bulls are having upper hand in this counter, when the momentum indicators on various time frames are in bullish mode. So the recommendation over here will be to buy at current level with stop loss at 550 and target on the upside will be 600.
Okay, that's Concor for you, 1.9% higher. Radico Khaitan, look at the way that stock is buzzing today in trade. MK, incidentally, today, which has which way has been having coverage on the company for some time now, has said that they are confident about the company's resilient business model. Yes, there have been some negatives, like, for example, their entire liquor ban, which is once again being mooted by a lot of states, and those negatives are sort of being overshadowed. They are overshadowing the positives. One of the positives is the market share gains, by Radico Khaitan, and that in turn is being led by the whole host of product launches. They are also pretty pleased with the entire debt reduction strategy, and even though there has been that recent jump in ENA, Radico will still be a bit protected due to backward integration. So Radico Khaitan, by the way, is higher by 4.5%. Kunal, BEML, again, something that you've been flagging off for some time.
So yes, Mubina, and look at how the stock trend has just about changed. 4 days back or 5 days back, 5 trading sessions back, the stock was reeling below, under continuous selling pressure. I think, if I'm not wrong, there was a 5-day or a 6-day continuous selling which happened for the stock, and it had dropped from 950 levels to sub 800, and that too in just a matter of short span of time. But the stock has almost recovered the entire loss. It's come back to those levels of 880 plus levels, and it's almost like a V-shaped recovery. So a high beta stock, V-shaped recovery, and coming back from extreme oversold territories, I think is a sign of a stock changing its trend. But I think just as a short-term play, since we recommended the stock below 800 levels, traders could look at booking par profits over here. If the stock comes back to levels of 825, 830 yet again, I think that could be a good entry level for BEML yet again.
Okay, that is BEML partial profits at the current levels of 881. Samya, what's the news on ICICI Lombard?
Well, ICICI Lombard is in focus for a bulk deal wherein Red Bloom Investment owned by Warburg Pincus has sold close to about 1.43 lakh of shares for an approximate value of 1100 rupees per share, while the buyer is Society General, which has bought close to about 20 or 30 lakh shares. Well, in November last year as well, Red Bloom Investment had sold close to about 3.14% stake in ICICI Lombard. However, the stock is gaining today.
Okay, that is ICICI Lombard, by the way, not ICICI Bank. The stock will just get corrected for you in a bit. Moving on, Gaurav, Power Grid, again, another stock, like some of these utility names that has been seeing traction for some time now. You as well believe that, this one is worth a buy?
That's right. Power Grid has given a strong breakout today. It has surpassed a multi-month falling trend line, and along with that, it has also crossed certain crucial swing highs. So this is a good setup to initiate a fresh long position. As long as the stock trades above the trend line, which is near 201, the bullish potential shall remain intact. So the recommendation is to buy at current level with stop loss below 201 on closing basis. And on the higher side, I'm expecting the stock to test its all-time high of 226.60.
Okay, that's of course the view on Power Grid, 2.5% high at the day's high. Sun Pharma, meantime, and we're finally seeing some smart gains over there. That's Sun Pharma. Now, CLSA has maintained a buy with the target at 520 rupees, so quite a lot of room for movement over there for Sun, which is now at 400. They believe that the India profitability has really improved over the last 3 years, regardless of what's been happening in the United States, and of course, their entire Halol plant being under import alert, and that's what they like, the strong India positioning of Sun Pharma, which they believe will continue to see increased traction. They also see strong double-digit growth in the top 100 brands, which as well will be a good trigger for the company. Stock higher by 3.5% now. And Kunal, L&T, why is this one a buy?
So, the large cap name has very high correlation with Nifty that we've seen statistically in the last 2-3 years. Now, the stock has a tendency of rallying for a short duration of time and then going for a prolonged consolidation. We've seen that phase happening for L&T right now. It's coming out of this consolidation or this grinding price range, and I believe that should augur very well for the Nifty as well because of that high correlation factor it has with the index. So L&T could be a good buy at current levels. I would expect another 4 to 5% upside on a quicker note about those 1565 levels.
Okay, that's L&T, 1.1% high, and yes, a very high correlation of this one with not just the benchmarks, but with the Indian economy in general. Samya, DHFL, again, defaulted on a part payment on its CPs.
Biggest loser during the earlier part of the day today after the company informed that they have defaulted on or delayed the part payment of CPs that were due yesterday. In fact, they said that they've paid 150 crore, which tantamounts to 40% of the total 375 crore of commercial papers that were due. But what's still remaining is 225 crore rupees, which they expect to pay in the next 2 days. Well, they say that the company is already in the process of selling down its loan assets, which will fetch them some amount of funds, which will be used to pay these debt obligations. Well, this comes in after the credit rating agencies had already downgraded the company to D category, that is the default category, when it first delayed the payment. However, the stock has recovered from the day's low, but it's still losing close to about 2.3%.
2% lower. And Gaurav, OMCs, of course, have been all over the place of late thanks to the volatility in crude. How would you advise traders go about when they're looking at a stock like this?
Yeah, OMCs are under pressure since last few weeks as the crude oil is witnessing a sharp bounce back. The NYMEX crude oil has retraced 50% of the previous decline and has reached near its daily upper Bollinger Band. So the upside from current level is limited. It can stretch till 61.8% retracement mark, which is around $60.50. However, that will be the last leg on the upside, and after that the crude is likely to cool off. Similarly, OMCs are in the last phase of decline, and buy on dips will be the strategy going ahead.
Okay, buy on dips, as Gaurav believes this is the last phase of the decline. But on that note, we will have to wrap it up on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thank you for watching, and of course, Gaurav, Kunal, as well as Soumya, thanks for sharing those individual stocks with our viewers. Well, coming up next is Markets at Noon. Stay tuned for that.